Hello, Abraham and Esther. Great to see you. We spoke about 6 months ago about me having conditions to be in alignment with my husband, and you said that if I didn't stay in my high alignment and drop down to his level, which is what you were just talking about, I would sort of lose my path and it'd be a disservice to him.
We would like to say that clearer right now. It's not that he's at a different level. You're not higher and he's not lower. You may be more aligned and he may be less aligned. But in the moment that you look at him and call him lower or less aligned, you've left your path.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And now you're just going to debate over things with no connection to who either one of you are or what either one of you want.
That's clear.
So alignment trumps everything.
Mm-hmm. So that's a better way to put it. So what has happened since then is I stayed in my high alignment.
How did you do that?
I focused on feeling good and having clarity, and it's been amazing what has happened is that we have so much abundance. And it's not just financial abundance, we have that and we have health, but we just have a lot of fun and we're both doing our thing and we're just having a blast, and it seems like it's accelerating too. It's like
momentum always happens. When resistance isn't applied continually, momentum happens.
Right.
Yes.
So I have two questions that I want to ask. I've got really amazing in-laws. They're awesome people. My father-in-law treats me like a son. He's treated me like a son since the moment I met him. And he's this awesome, smart, funny man. And
all right, now, did you hear what he said earlier? And can you feel the true, honest, self-aware trajectory of his path? Can you feel it? And can you feel that these statements that he's making right now are still mostly on that path? Now say what you're going to say.
Right. So, my father-in-law transitioned to non-physical on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so, he's here right now,
yeah.
and that's why I'm saying he's awesome
yeah.
and amazing, because
yes.
he's here.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why I'm trying. I'm leaving. I'm literally going to go from this seminar to the airport to go meet my husband in San Antonio, of all places, for the funeral. So I want to bring my high alignment there because I know he's around us, and to be there and to be supportive for my husband and my mother-in-law and all my family there that I love so much. So I know I'm going into a situation that I want to stay in my high alignment.
Well, if anyone can maintain alignment, you see, one nice thing about a situation like that is that the person who you are talking most about is in full alignment.
Right.
And so, as you are too, then there's a perpetuation of that. So it is very likely that you will have an exhilarating experience of connection, maybe even more than you've ever experienced before, because of all of the momentum. But there is also a condition that happens around these sort of functions,
right,
where there are people that don't really understand why you're so happy.
Exactly, yeah.
And there's a lot of peer group pressure about not being happy under those conditions. So
yeah.
This is a really good example of what we were saying earlier about if you've done the work and if you're in that place of unconditional love, then you can be at that. What we were talking about earlier was not a funeral, when we were talking about you being in a situation where you maintain your balance, but you certainly could. And the thing that we want you to go to that gathering understanding. Now, there could not be a better example or opportunity to say this most important thing. We are appreciating you bringing this right here. There is a sense from almost any person going into an experience like this that you need to be there for people who are suffering, that you need to be of service to those who are in need of it. And we're saying to you, you cannot serve your alignment and that at the same time. So that's the thing that you want to be aware of. Now, almost anybody will get sucked into what that is about. Most people do, unless you really understand what's really going on and you really do have this momentum going. Is this making sense to you?
It's interesting because when I was packing this
In other
morning-
words, there is this sense that I need to be there for them. I need to explain it to them. I need to make them understand what I know. Well, good luck on that.
Right.
Good luck on
Yeah.
that. Hello, everyone. I know you don't know me very well. I'm gay. And I don't believe that Dad really went anywhere. And I think he's right here with all of us. So woohoo, let's party! So you might not want to hit at that head on.
Right.
But you also don't want to give up your alignment. And that's the thing. When you are in an environment where there is someone you really care about who is in need, or several people that you might not even know very well who are in need, there is this tendency to want to be of service in every way that you can. And we're not asking you not to be in service. We're just asking you to stay in alignment so that you can be.
Exactly.
That's all. And so this is a perfect example. You feel stable enough to us. So how's your partner doing?
He's on his own journey and his own alignment with this. I know he's in some pain.
He's suffering naturally.
Yeah.
He's suffering naturally. And do you feel like you need to be there in the understanding of his suffering? Oh, we know these are such hard questions, because if you be there in the understanding of his suffering, you join his path.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a pretty easy path to join, because you join it often. Everyone does. You want to be there. You want to be there. But it's interesting that we start with maybe the hardest conversation that any of you ever have in order to talk to you about the path of least resistance. And yet there's no better subject to demonstrate this than that. And so then you might want to say, in fact, you do want to say, well, Abraham, are you kidding? You're asking him, you're asking all of us to do something that is close to impossible in that situation. And we say, that's exactly the point that we're making. We want you to get so good at this that that situation is not impossible to maintain your balance. That's exactly the point that we're making.
Right.
Start with things that are easy. And so if you go and you don't make it, it's all right. But at least you'll know when you've left your path and you're over there. At least you'll know that it was a choice that you made, not something that was done to you.
Right.
Not something that a circumstance did to you or an event did to you. In other words, you won't feel like the victim that got sucked into something that you didn't want to be sucked into, now that you know that you have an option to stay on your path or not. Now, maybe nobody could really stay on their path under these conditions. We're not saying that it is something that we really think that you should get figured out by the time you get on the airplane and go out there. We just want you to know when you're on your path and when you're not, and that when you're trying to give service to others before you are finding your alignment, which is your true service to yourself and therefore to everyone else. We just want you to be conscious about what's going on,
right,
so that it's not something that's happening to you. It's something that you are in control of. When you get into your vehicle and you're going to go somewhere, or even onto an airplane to go somewhere, you just don't go directly there. Your path takes lots of twists and turns and ups and downs. In other words, that's what life is all about. It's about finding your path and maybe knowing that you're not quite on it, and then finding it again, and maybe knowing that you're not quite on it, and finding it again, and maybe you're knowing that you're not quite on it. But when you are consistently recovering and finding yourself on your path, in time, you can be a true liver of unconditional love, a true free person who is no longer bound by the opinions of others or bound by the needs of others. And sometimes people hear us speak like this and they think, oh, Abraham, you don't want us to help others? Of course we do. We just don't want you to give up the stuff that you're going to help them with. Because if you give up the stuff that you're going to help them with, then you're going to resent the help that they needed in time. It backfires 100% of the time. Not occasionally, 100% of the time. When you leave your path, it backfires 100% of the time.
It does.